Everyone has the right to the same level of education. Imagine walking into your first high school English class and finding out that there's not enough books for all the students, and that the books you do have are tattered and torn. Now imagine seeing your cousin or friend that's in the same grade as you, but happens to live in a different school district, not only has a book, but has a tablet to do their homework on. What if you found out that because you lived in an urban area, the teachers at your school earn less, so in order to fill the positions, they hire teachers that didn't really major in the subject they teach? How about sitting in a class where everyone seems to be grasping the information being taught, but because you have trouble learning by lecture rather than discussion, all you hear is Charlie Brown's teacher saying wah 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 wah, and your teacher won't answer your questions anymore because they feel like you're just taking too much time from the other students? Doesn't sound very fair, does it? Well, it isn't, but this is a reality a lot of students face every day. In low-income communities, the inequality in education starts before a child goes to school. Their parents usually have to work more, so they don't have time to do things like read with them or teach them to do simple math equations. Unfortunately, once they start school, the inequality issue does not improve. The resources and funding available don't allow for the schools to have the same materials and equipments as other schools. But yet these students are still expected to do just as well, not just on things like standardized testing, but they're supposed to be able to compete for scholarships, gain admissions to good colleges, and after that we expect these same students to thrive in the real world. How can we expect that if they don't have the tools they need to succeed?
Growing inequality is hitting children around the world in many areas of life, including household income and education. We often hear about increasing wealth among the top 1%, but far less attention is given to the increasing gap between the bottom 10% and the middle, bottom-end inequality. UNICEF's latest Innocenti report card, Fairness for Children, gives us a detailed look at inequality in 41 wealthy countries. The result? Rich countries are failing the bottom 10% of children. Since the economic crisis, income gaps have increased in most rich countries, 19 out of 37, and only 4 countries saw household income at the bottom increase faster than the middle. In the 19 of the 41 rich countries, a child at the 10th percentile has less than half the disposable household income of the child in the middle. Children from homes with the lowest household incomes are also more likely to have poor outcomes in education. The proportion of 15-year-olds falling below reading, math, and science minimum proficiency is as high as 28.6% in Bulgaria, compared to just 3.2% in Estonia. And though gaps in reading achievement have narrowed in a majority of rich countries, 2 of the wealthiest, Belgium and France, are found at the bottom of the report, with large achievement gaps. These issues drastically affect children's life opportunities and their ability to succeed as adults. Inequality is hitting children right now across the developed world, in your country. There's so much outrage about the accumulation of wealth among the richest, but it's time to address how growing inequality makes families at the bottom slip further away from a decent life in the middle. More equal societies dramatically improve all children's chances in life. These nations have less child poverty and better educational achievement. Children are also healthier and happier overall. Let's put the most vulnerable children at the forefront of efforts to build a more equal world.
Your future is not much brighter if you happen to live in an urban community. The schools face the same lack of materials and equipment, and they also have inadequate teaching staff. And those staff members, though dedicated, don't always have an education on par with teachers from a smaller school in more rural or suburban areas. Nearly half the students from suburban communities have some sort of reading deficit, and without this necessary skill will not have the opportunities they might have had they just been able to read a little bit better.
is Cedric Forte. I'm a junior at Heritage High School, 425.
My name is Jackson Langford. I'm 18-year-old and I'm a senior at McLean High School. For academic subjects, I'm in Advanced Placement Literature,
English,
Advanced Placement U.S. Government,
Biology,
and Comparative Government,
Art,
Advanced Placement Music Theory,
Health,
Geosystems for Science,
and Algebra.
Men's Chorus,
What's it?
Leadership, and Technical Theater. So I drive and I get here half an hour before school starts every day, just for the fun of it. Trying to park here, if you come in at normal time, is really awful. You end up parking like half a mile away.
A lot of students who go to a school all the way across town have to catch 2 and 3 buses in the subway just to get to school. And I think that, you know, if we have to travel that far just to get education, then we should be able to travel for free.
The kids here are motivated in just about everything. They're motivated to even learn, which is scary to hear for a high school kid. They're motivated to succeed in sports, extracurriculars, anything.
I think they've lost the will to learn. A lot of them. They just don't find school interesting no more because they don't have the power to do anything. And they say so in the classrooms.
This is our auditorium theater. We have lights, standard light sound. It's not particularly high tech, but we have a nice system.
Here, go to the metal detector. Like, they use this to try to, you know, keep school safe, but obviously it doesn't work because, like, even when someone walks through and it beeps, like, they don't even search them or anything. They just say, okay, walk back through, empty your pockets. That's all they do.
This is our new studio. It's one of 3 high schools in the county who has it. Hey, orchestra, can you start playing? It's all kids. It's all run. It's all performed. It's all produced by kids.
Well, one thing that these walls, like, they really need to be repainted because of the graffiti. As you can see here, they tried to repaint it, but it doesn't blend in. You can actually tell they just, like, really just gave up on repainting the walls. So every teacher in this school buys their own school supplies. And it's actually very sad because, like, the school system should have money to, you know, provide for those school supplies for students, but they don't. And the teachers have to come out of their paychecks just to, you know, be able to support their students.
That's our observatory. It's a giant dome with a telescope, and you can see the entire sky from there. If every school in the country can be like McLean, I think it's really going to increase standard of living, just going to make things a lot better.
Obviously, it's not fair. I mean, we have not even half of what they have. I mean, we're all students. Why shouldn't we receive things that they have? I mean, we're all trying to learn. We all want to grow up to be something, so why shouldn't we receive the same advantages they have? I don't understand that.
Students that have some sort of learning difficulty face a whole new set of problems. They may go to a school in a middle to high income community. The school may have all the materials and equipment it needs, and also all the teachers, but those teachers may not know how or feel they have the time to teach a student that doesn't learn the same way everyone else does. They may feel by stopping to help these students, the other students are not getting the attention they deserve. Parents are not trained to deal with these difficulties in a school environment. They have no choice but to rely on the policies and procedures in place. But what if those policies don't meet a particular child's learning style? Should that student be left behind? Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, has dyslexia. Does that mean he should never have been given a chance or be shunned because he learns a little bit differently? Imagine what it would be like without the Steve Jobs of the world. Inequality in school is real. It is a problem and it needs to be dealt with. Every person that steps into a school has the right to expect the same level as education as other people in other communities, cities, or countries. If something as small as staying in school an extra year or having basic reading skills can do so much for an individual student, imagine what it can do for all of us as a whole. This is not just a problem for educators to solve. This is a problem that we all need to work together to end. Because when we do, life will be safer and more secure for all of us.